Hey everyone, I hope you've been well. I'm just in the garden and I wanted to film a quick update video. A while ago I'd promised that I would do a garden tour, a video tour of my garden, and unfortunately I wasn't able to do that. The reason is because I have really bad internet here at my house, living in the rural area. We have a very slow internet, so as I started filming it, the video was about an hour long, and unfortunately at this time, with the bad internet availability here for me, and because it's COVID and it's hard to go sit down somewhere with good internet to upload it, I haven't been able to do so. So anyway, I'm just gonna do a quick scan, flip the camera, and show you just how things are growing quickly, and hopefully you can see it is the beginning of September. The garden is still going, and we have about another month before we have our first frost, so I'm going to continue harvesting. But anyways, I'll flip the camera and show you guys how things are doing just briefly, and to give you an overview. So I'm standing here in the middle of the garden. This is the open area, and the area that I had planned on finishing after the garden expansion. There's still 2 more phases that needed to be completed. Unfortunately, because of COVID this year, we weren't able to get to this year because we do hire it out. We're not handy enough to build this ourselves. So the center is still open, and I'm planning to still do the she shed over here, still do a sitting area here with a covered pergola with a harvest table underneath, and still do a long bean tunnel here, and then a few more gardens down to the end. But it's actually been really nice having this open space, because I've found so far that I'm fine in terms of how much is growing and how much I've been able to get. So just scanning over here at the end, this was garlic. I had about 500 or so planted in these 2 L-shaped beds. They've been harvested long ago, and I have since put buckwheat in as a cover crop. And so it is now growing. It took a while for the seeds to establish because it's been really hot, but now that we're into September, we're getting cooler nights and more rain, so it's really helped get this area going. So you can see the buckwheat is coming in. That will stay here till the end of October, then I'll cut it down and I'll plant garlic, which always goes in for me right towards the end of October, very early November, as soon as I can. Over here is my beans. I've got beans here, edamame and pink scarlet runners. They're really, really beautiful. You can maybe see them over here. I'll just go quickly towards them. And this has been loved by hummingbirds. Just a really pretty color, really lovely. Just all the time visited by hummingbirds. I've just really loved and enjoyed seeing this. And I'm saving these beans here. Although they're edible for the green pods, I'm saving them for seed. And so you can see here they're going to seed. Down below I have it paired with peppers. Lots of flowers everywhere. I like to co-plant flowers. I start them all from seed as well. So actually they're edible. You can eat marigolds, add them to your salads, etc. So at the bottom of the beds is peppers. Bottom of the bed is peppers. Over here is another bed of beans. So the beans are climbing up. Beans as well here at the bottom. And eggplants co-planted. This bed here is overgrown now. I love it. It's morning glory paired with, I've got basil in here, I've got flowers, I have squash and zucchini. And squash is producing a Marina de Chioga just over there. Over here I have tomatoes, so eggplant at the bottom of these beds, sorry about that. Eggplant, you can see Rosa Bianca coming in. These are all tomatoes. So I can't get through here very easily, but this is amazing sweet peas. And I have these tunnels here, and I planted sweet peas at the ends, at the bottoms of the beds, and as you can see, they have reached the top. So as I had expected this to happen, I was hoping for this, and I just really planted all varieties, and I love the color combinations. This side here is like a violet-y pink with white, and there's watermelon there at the end. And over here is like a burgundy with a violet, and then I've got a combination color. Beautiful. And so I'm saving seeds from these, and I'm gonna have them available in my shop, and they're gonna be sold as a mixed seed variety, or just a mixed seed color. and I think they're all lovely together. As you can see, they don't need to be planted. They can just all be planted together and you can be surprised. They're all lovely. This here is my cherry tomato bed. It's doing really, really well. Of course, co-planted with flowers always. Straw flowers, forage. More tomatoes along there, all done really well. This is an herb bed and a flower bed that I've allowed to go to seed because it's been really beautiful for the pollinators. They've absolutely loved this bed. And I've got some really lovely sweet peas here. This color is spectacular. It's like a chiffon. So I'm gonna have all these available in my shop, but they're gonna be sold as a mixed seed packet. And you can see here's seeds. I've been collecting them for seed. Here's a bed, so this is that herb garden. As you can see, at this stage it's really overgrown, but just lovely, the combination of colors. I just love it. And all the pollinators, they love, you know, dill, they love cilantro. I have that in here too. Got papalo over here. It's an alternative to cilantro. It's a little bit different. Borage. I mean, it's just loved by pollinators. It's been really great. And so the great thing about having beds spaced further apart is that you have room for these beds to become, you know, to grow into the rows, and it's been fun. So here's another arch filled with different varieties of sweet peas, all strong stems, all make really lovely bouquets. I don't have the heart to always pick them because I just love them here. Pollinator bed. It's done really, really well. I've got dahlias in here. I've got straw flowers, sweet peas that I'm waiting to bloom here in the end. I've got all mixed of stuff. There's marigolds, there's cosmos, then there's these other ones that I don't know the name of. Bees just love them. You can see there's a bee in there. That's my honeybee. It's a bee from one of my hives. You can tell right away that's the honeybee. And they're just so happy in here. So literally all I did was take a packet of mixed pollinator seeds and I just sprinkled them in here. So bumblebees, it's really great. Okay, moving on. Over here, I've got cucumbers paired with borage, paired with straw flowers, paired with parsnips in the center. Done really well, but it's coming to the end. Here on the end, I've got straw flowers. I love this variety. It's called apricot peach. So pretty. And this is more flowers. These are cupcake zinnias. They're so pretty. They almost look like double echinacea here, this one here. This is more cucumbers paired with parsnips. The cucumbers are coming to an end now. And these big things here, these crazy looking beasts, these are radishes. I actually co-plant radishes with all my cucumber family plants to prevent squash vine borers, and it's been really effective. But this year, towards the end of the season, I did get a lot of squash vine borers in many of my squash plants. So I'm thinking maybe it helps deter them for a bit, but it's not 100%. So companion planting, I don't know. Through my experience, I've found that it's not always. It's oftentimes just a myth. Some things work, like I believe in co-planting flowers with vegetables because they do attract, or with flowering vegetables because they do attract pollinators. But other than that, I can't say don't plant this with that or plant this with that. I don't find it's really effective. This is spaghetti squash. You can see my plants now have the powdery mildew on them, and that's okay. It's the end of the season, so this is pretty common. And this is all tomatoes. If you look down, you see the disaster that is the squash plants and the zucchini plants, and the squash vine borers unfortunately destroyed some of my plants. But that's okay, because at this stage there's just so much that I'm not stressed about it. Look how many fruit. So even though the squash vine borers have now attacked some of the plants, I mean, the fruit's already here, so it's late in the season, and the plants were very mature when they finally arrived in my garden, which was in August, so it's okay. Moving down this way, these are tromboncino zucchini, and next year, if I have my bean tunnel, I will plant them so that they climb and grow straight. And then this one I've left for seed. It's really big. Okay, just gonna go the other side. This is the carrot bed. done well, and there are many that are ready for harvest. So you can see, I need to still do that. And some of them have gone to seed, and I've never had that before, and I'm going to blame it on the really hot summer we've had. And over here, I just want to show you, I have a rutabaga, and it is ready for harvest. This here is the old section of my garden, and it's the area that needs to be rebuilt. The beds are starting to crumble. They're not the greatest material. They were pine boards, and pine is good for about 5 years. But you can see here it's starting to warp and crack. There's areas where the corners have literally crumbled, so it needs to go. And so I'm looking forward to this and rebuilding it. I also find that the rows, the aisles between the beds are really narrow, and if they were wider, like in that section there, it would make it a lot easier to plant and weed and work between the beds. So that's the priority then, is to make the spacing of the, I think I would like about 3-4 feet between the beds. This here is about 2, so it's definitely not enough. About 3.5-4 feet would be great, because when you're sitting here and you're trying to work, you know, your knees, it's just not a lot of room to like put things, use your tools, put buckets down. And so, and when your garden is spacious, like this one here, there's enough space to widen it out a bit. So anyway, here I have, it's kind of overgrown, but there's strawberries that are in the aisles, and that's because they just left the beds years ago and literally just ran. You can see the runners. So this needs to all be picked up eventually. Now the berries that grow in there are pretty good. They're the white pine berries, strawberries, so they're pretty tasty. But you know, the ground cover is basically strawberries, as you can see everywhere. And this is a Saskatoon berry that's done really well for me. A white currant next to it, and then in here I have hot peppers co-planted with beets in the center, plus lots of herbs that have gone to seed that keep coming back year after year. So I'm grateful for it. The beet, there's dill, there's cilantro, and there's lettuces that keep coming back year after year. So I'm always appreciative when I get those free plants. This is another bed of hot peppers that I'd co-planted with lettuce, and you can see the lettuce has gone to seed in the center of the aisle. And ground cherry that I'd planted years ago always returns, and so I actually let it. This is a really nice ground cherry that produces big berries. They're quite sweet, so I just let it do its own thing, and it's really gone a little crazy. You can see here some ground cherry. They're big, beautiful ground cherries. Oh, here's an example of some. I'm gonna open one up. They're pretty good. There's a soft one. So when they fall off the vine or fall off the plant, they're ready for harvest. So I'm always grateful when they return each year, get a good harvest from them. This here is more hot peppers, and I planted them with some tomatoes on that side. And this is, as you can see, it's really overgrown. Tomatoes. This is a bed of calendula and alpine berries, and I'm seeing here one is coming back. It's not quite ready yet, but this produces an abundance, and they're really sweet. Here's one. They're delicious. So calendula comes back here. I've got Celtis, which I love. Goes to seed, comes back again and again because it keeps dropping the seeds. This is Morning Glory that I planted last year. Once you have Morning Glory, I think you have it forever. It's really pretty. This area of the garden is a little bit overgrown and a little out of control. All kinds of stuff is happening here. I haven't really maintained it as well as I'd liked, because I know that it's going. But it's mostly strawberries, lettuces, calendula. All these things come back year after year. And this is soapwort, which I need to cut back now that it's gone to seed. And basically, soapwort is where soap comes from. It has saponins in its roots, and if you break them up in your hands and add some water, it actually will lather, like it's soapy. So I planted it here because I wanted to have soap in my garden. This is multi-sown beets, and they're finally coming in. And then sweet peas. That's Cosmos that actually grew back. It comes back every year. Here I have celery and celeriac. Literally, this is an area of the garden that is kind of unfortunately forgotten. This is stuff that needs to be cleaned up now. It's the end of the season, but you can see here I've got squash coming up here, the giant sunflower, and I'll take a look at this. Look at that big head. Wow. You can see squash out there. It's been a really good year for this squash. This is my favorite squash. It's called Georgia Candy Roaster. Really been happy with it. And over here I have tomatillos that have come back. So if you do have tomatillos in your garden and you leave a few get on the ground and you lose them in the ground, they will grow back. And so this year I've had a lot of tomatillos self-sow. And this here is 1,500-year-old cave beans. I'm still waiting for them, and they're just starting right there. That's pretty exciting. So I'm looking forward to trying them. They're called 1,500-year-old cave bean, and they come from Baker Creek heirloom seeds, and I always wanted to try them. And this is patty pan squash, which I see some are ready again for harvesting. These look good. So I've got a few plants of that in here. And then over here, I have a little bit of cucamelon. But I had so much cucamelon last year that I didn't know what to do with it. This year I just planted a little bit, and I haven't really been paying attention to it all that much. So I don't have as much of an abundance as I've had in the past. But fairly easy to grow. They just need a good trellising system. These are ready. There's another one that's ready. So I don't need a lot. This year I want to take a little break from them, but I have been growing them for a long time. Scarlet runner beans, and those are the 1,500-year-old cave beans, just starting to come in. That's really exciting. It's fun to grow something that's so historic. More ground cherry that have grown back on their own. These are really fun, really great, and my family always appreciates them when they grow back. But soapwort, once you have it, it's a rhizome. So this rhizome came from all the way down there under all these beds, or maybe some seeds blew. That could have been it. Okay, and this is the final section here. This is my glass gem corn, and this has grown back. I planted this from saved seeds. And I'm gonna wait for them to dry a bit. The birds really love them. It's hard to grow corn if you have a lot of birds. I have a lot of birds here. This is I forgot what this is called, but it's like a fungus or something that grows on corn. Apparently it's really delicious. I don't know, it doesn't look all that appealing to me, but I got a bunch of these. And I'm not sure when you're supposed to harvest them, if you're gonna be using them, but chefs apparently do things with them. There's another one right there. And it was green at first, now it's black. I don't know. For me, it's not my thing, but I guess if you have tried it, let me know. I'd love to get your feedback on it. All this section here is berries. Is this focusing on me or not? Okay, this is all berries. This is the new section. So I'm just gonna back up a bit. This is all berries. And in this area, I have planted other things. So the beds that were open, I filled with potatoes, sweet potatoes, planted flowers, lots of flowers, but this is all berries. And some are doing different, some are doing better than others. And I also have this, which keeps coming up everywhere. Some kind of weed. And there, look, there's another one just popped up. And I've really cleaned up these beds a lot. This, I think I grew something last year that just keeps coming back. So, not hard to get out, but my goodness. Whatever it is, it dropped a million seeds. This whole bed had a million of them that I cleaned up before, so I need to get rid of that. Over here is Cupcake Cosmos, and I have some apple trees and plum trees, but I really had bad gypsy moth caterpillars this year, unfortunately, and they destroy those trees. These are red currants, and I think the birds have bent all the branches, but I was able to get a small harvest. Elderberry, which I've been harvesting the berries. I think next year I'm going to make a cordial from the flowers, or I still might this year, I'm not sure, but you can see there, they're coming in. Those are sunflowers, berries of some kind, sweet potatoes, and then pumpkins that have come on their own. You can't even get through this area, it's so wild. This is all sweet potato with really, really pretty flowers. And sweet potato is a member of the morning glory family, so the flowers look really similar. This is a hot pepper that I forgot I planted, actually. Oh, look. It's a Fresno type. And then I have, this is Ceranth, also known as honeywort. Really, really pretty. And the bees have absolutely loved it. And I'm gonna come a little closer and show it to you. It's really pretty. Seeds from Baker Creek. It's just so pretty. And the bees have loved it. They've loved it. Bumblebees and honeybees. It looks like it needs to be cut back. Oh, there's a huge bumblebee there. He's massive. She, probably a she. There's potatoes here that I've been harvesting. Now there's a lot of Colorado potato bugs this year in my garden, so I've been collecting them in my soapy bucket, and they've been destroying the plants, but I was able to get a really good harvest from these two beds, and I still have to harvest the rest of this one. Then I have to harvest on that side over there, all of that covered in Colorado potato bugs. I'm gonna go around here. And really, really beautiful straw flowers. I love this one's called Copper Red. And this here's nasturtiums. Nasturtiums didn't do as well, but I think that they attracted aphids, so they might have been a trap crop. And this is straw flower going to seed, so I'm gonna have to pick these and collect the seeds. And these straw flowers are just stunning. Beautiful. And this is zinnia that I'm growing. I think it's a Zoe zinnia. And here is pumpkins that have come up on their own. I think birds just dropped the seeds in this bed, and two plants came up. And I've got these pumpkins growing. I have another one that just popped up over there. Look at this one, it's huge. So hopefully it turns red, or sorry, orange before the season's over. And over here's another one, just want to show you. A really big one, which was a big surprise. And I believe it's ready. It is huge. And yeah, can't get your nail in. It's hard. It's ready for harvest. So that's it. That's the garden. I'm gonna do a little quick little overview here. So that's it for the tour. Hopefully I gave you a good idea of what's happening in the garden. I'd hoped to do this earlier, but unfortunately events never allowed me to do it, or the grass was being cut, or you know, it just wasn't the right time, or the sun went down too quickly. Actually, the grass is being cut today. So anyway, I'm hoping that this gives you an idea of what I've been doing and how it's been growing. And I really appreciate you guys tuning in. So that's it for me for today. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you're all having really great gardens and you're all doing really well and having a great harvest in your own garden. And that's it. Wish you all the best. Happy gardening, everyone. Oh, by the way, if you like my video, please be sure to click the like button and please subscribe and click the notification bell to receive notifications of any upcoming videos. Thanks again for watching. Bye for now.